Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Smut Gaming with me, Christopher, and this is Iratus, Lord of the Dead, an RPG roguelike where we don the ropes of an awakened necromancer, hell-bent on reaching the surface after being buried and ultimately wreak havoc on the mortal world. The style of the game is turn-based, where we will use various types of undead creatures in order to slay a bunch of bastard humans. We will be leveling them up, trying to not have them killed, equip them with gear, and generally becoming stronger. Of course, our enemies will become stronger themselves, and therein lies the difficulty. But enough of that, let's start a new game. Now, I've done the tutorial because the game wouldn't let me do otherwise, and we can't play in a higher difficulty setting until we've beaten the game on the normal difficulty. So, yeah, we can't do that just yet. We need to do this first. So, yeah, this game is kind of rough. So, I've had a go just to learn the basics, and I think I'm ready to face this game head on.
Life is a disease. A millennium ago, a supreme necromancer was on the verge of conquering the world. But you know what they say about best laid plans. Inevitably, heroes shall emerge. So, I was made dead again. But what does death really mean for somebody who has mastered it? Boredom. An eternity to ponder my errors and how close I came to victory. I am a mortal, but when this world ends, even I will know oblivion. And so, I ask myself, will I be given another chance to rise before it happens? Another chance to fulfill my ambition? It seems that fate has smiled after all.
We are in. So this is the guy that we are playing. So you could say that we're the bad guy. I'm gonna say that we're the good guy. You know, because look at him. Isn't he? Doesn't he look good? I think he looks good. So what we've got is we got a basic setup in the beginning of the game. We have a, well, you can set it up so that you don't have it and you have to sort of, I would assume, create your base army yourself. I kind of like the setup that they give you from the very beginning. So if we look at what we've we have a Bride of Iratus. Kind of strange, since you can have multiple of them. Maybe there's some sort of polygamy going on there, I don't know. So she's the sort of ranged damage dealer. She has a sort of regular attack. She can hit almost, she can hit all of the enemies from a backward position. She has some Flames of Love, which is dealing fire damage. She has an Overwatch, which is a stance. Stances are something where you don't take an immediate action, but you do things based on various elements of the fight. In this case, if an enemy moves position, she will take a shot at them. She has a buff for herself, gaining attack and dread. Attack being regular melee power and dread being sanity attacks. If we look at that over here, we see we have a physical or magical attack is the regular attack, and dread is stress attacks. So our enemies will have two values, which one being vigor, the same as us, which is just regular health. They will also have sanity. So stress attacks reduces sanity. If an opponent has 0 sanity and we use the stress attack, we have a chance of them having a heart attack and dying. It's not a 100% chance, but it can happen. She also has a warning shot, which is again a stress attack. And then we have various updates we can come to later. She also has a sort of, I don't exactly remember what they were called, but a sort of powerful attack. So this is something that costs rage, I believe is the term here. The little knuckle to the right. Now that is something that Iratus himself has. So Iratus has two sort of powers, you could say. Mana being one of them, and Rage, as I believe it was called, being the other one. Mana is used for the spells that Iratus can use, and Rage is used for the creature's abilities like this. So that's the Bride of Iratus. We have a basic skeleton. He has a number of regular attacks. The one ability that I like is the Embrace Mediocrity, which is a bonus to armor and resistance. Armor being against physical damage and resistance being against magical damage. So you can buff that for everyone but the skeleton, and it stacks up to 3 times, meaning that you can get quite a lot of resistances with that. Highly useful. Yeah, that's our little skeleton. We have a zombie, who is a sort of, well, a damage dealer as well, but not from the back. He's more of a frontline sort of middle. So what I could have mentioned is if you look at the skulls to the left, that is where we need to be in position in order to use this skill. The red ones on the right are which places we can fire at or attack at. Right now he is in the sort of second position. We are facing the right, so he's in the second position. He can use volley, he can use buckshot, he can use igniting mixture or powder, but he cannot use bombardment, because for that he needs to be at the back 2 places. So that is something to think about when you set up your team. Which abilities can they use? So he has a few things going on. Igniting mixture, really good, sets enemies on fire, dealing damage at the start of their turn. We also have more powder, which is a self buff, increasing their damage with 100%, and you can stack that, so you can basically just increase and increase and increase his damage. Kinda useful, I would have to say, or rather it's actually very, very useful. So that is the zombie. And lastly, we have the Dark Knight. So he's a sort of tanky-ish, I would say. He has quite high armor, quite high resistance from the beginning. Look at the zombie, he has 0 armor but high resistance. Look at the skeleton, 0, 0. Bride of Iratus, 0, 0. Now Bride of Iratus, however, does have some evasion, which I don't think that, yeah, none of the other ones have. So she can avoid attacks altogether from using that. So he has a sort of base attack, deals a little bit more damage based on our armor and resistance. So if you could increase his defenses in order to make this attack stronger. We have a basic stress attack, and this does extra damage based on buffs or debuffs on the target. So if you do have targets with debuffs and buffs, you can use this quite effectively. He has a support ability for himself, which if he has debuffs he can use this, and that gives Iratus mana and wrath. So that is what it was called, not rage, wrath. I almost got that right. He has a stance as well. He has another physical attack. The little 3 with an arrow means that if he uses this ability, he will move forward 3 spaces. So this is also used at the back 2 places, or rather where he is not. It is a thing that the opponents can push your creatures back. So this is a good thing to use for that reason, because you kind of want this one to be at the front. He also had a pretty decent ultimate power here, basically attacking all opponents and healing himself. So for a good setup of like abilities and items and stuff like that, having something that increases your wrath as quick as possible is a really good thing, is something that I've already figured out. So along with that, that's our abilities. We also have stats, which are these different kinds that we can increase as our creatures level up. Now these creatures are level 1 right now. For every level they get 2 of these ability points. The cost for upgrading are here. So for this specific creature we have a different set of costs. If we go to the Bride of Iratus, for example, if you want her to have defenses, you're gonna have to pay a lot. But you don't really want to do that. There's really no point. You can just pay 1 to increase her evasion by +4 instead, which is kind of decent actually. But again, she's usually in the back. She doesn't take that much damage, but she absolutely can. So that's the creatures that we were given. Now we can go to creation, where we can actually create our own creatures. So we have a skeleton, a zombie, a Bride of Iratus, and a dark knight. We also have the choice to create a banshee, a wraith, a mummy, and a lich. Now that I think about it, I probably have unlocked the lich, because I don't think that we had that from the beginning. Yeah, so we probably have done some of these. I actually think that this is also an unlock, now that I consider it. So if we want to, we can create more of these, and we probably will need to have at least a few more creatures as backup, because our creatures will lose health, and we do need to replace them. So for now, I think we're good for now. We can also pick up extra creatures in the dungeon that in which we will be doing our sort of questing. So I'm gonna take it a little bit easy with this. I do like the banshees. He is sort of all about debuffing and buffing. So for example, she has the whale, which gives your minions plus 14 dread power, quite a lot. She also has the soprano, which reduces the enemy's attack, also really good. So it's not unlikely that I will be taking a banshee if we come to a choice, or rather just create them ourselves. So when you create your different creatures, you have 4 materials that you need to fill in. We have a base set here of 5 of each, and these are all of common quality. So you have also uncommon, rare, and legendary quality. So what that means is if you add a item with either of these, you will most likely get some stat points from the very beginning, which is kind of nice. You can also pick up brains. So if you go to our Death Knight, they are level 1, meaning that they have a level 1 brain. But you can pick up brains with like level 3, meaning that if you create a new creature, you can immediately level them up. A very handy thing to do. Also, from the very beginning, we get a free artifact. Now this is randomized, so this time we got Undertaker's Clothes. For each enemy killed in battle, Iratus additionally gains 3% of experience from the current level. Not super good, but I'm gonna take it anyway. It's free.
It embellishes my undead features.
It sure does, Iratus, it sure does. So what that means is that we will ourselves level up. And as we level up, we get talent points. Right now we are at 0 out of 100 for this level. Each level we get 1 point. We have different talents. We have alchemy, which we will check out in a second. We have magic, which is the skills that we use in battle. We have ire, which is increasing our creatures a little bit. We have destruction, which is mainly, I believe, items. I believe that is. Perhaps. I haven't really checked this out, because I've always wanted to go for this one. So Fate is a spell that Iratus can use. And what it does is that the target minion's next attack deals critical damage. So basically a free critical. And for that we need 5 talent points. We need to take Whip, and we need to take Haste. Now Haste is also a pretty good spell, so I'm not opposed to taking this from the very beginning either. So let's go for Haste.
Comes victory.
I'm totally behind you, Iratus, totally behind you. So we're gonna take Whip as our next point, and then we're gonna go for Fate. After that, I'm a little bit unsure exactly what we will go for, but we'll check that when we get to it. So that's it for talents. We also have Alchemy. So Alchemy, you have four different things. You have Extraction, which is that you take something out of here, and you can create items over here. Items that our creatures can use. So if we want, we can take 3 armor parts in order to create steel spikes. Makes whatever creature is equipped with this to reduce their physical damage received by 10%. And we have increased physical damage, reduces critical damage received, increases critical damage dealt, increases all damage dealt, etc, etc. So we can use different kinds of materials here in order to craft these things. We also have Distillation, which is a way to increase the vigor of our creatures. So if all of our creatures are down and we don't have any replacements, we can do 3 random parts to get some vigor. We also have Calcination, which is sort of the same thing, but instead we get mana back for Iratus themselves. We can also convert 3 parts of these to any other part, meaning that if we have a lot of something and we lack something else, we can just, trade for it. And that also gives us a percentage of getting a better item. So if we want to try and get some uncommon items, for example, we can start trying to trade these in. So I think that is sort of it for now. We also have a graveyard that we can check out a little bit later. And if you want, you can either click up here or you can just click down here as well. But I think that's sort of it for the setup of this game. So I'm thinking that we're just going to go into the dungeon. This is a dungeon. We have paths that we can take, and if we try to find our way up to the finish, you can see that there's quite a lot of this map to go until we get to the exit, with a lot of boss fights, etc. So there are many things that we need to do here. First, a regular battle. And our opponents get the sort of first thing, so he just got a buff for a Sinister Strike. So at the beginning of the next turn, he will deal a pretty significant blow to a random target. Now that can, of course, hit our Bride of Iratus, not optimal, but yeah, we'll see what happens. So at the start of the turn, since I got haste, I usually just, activate that. Make sure that get a little bit more initiative, dealing or making our all the guys here go first as much as possible. And also initiative is of course something you can increase when they level up, which is also really handy. As for Bride of Iratus, boosting her attack and red is definitely a way to go in the beginning, because that just makes her attacks even more powerful later on. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, get her buffed up. As for our Dark Knight, so we have, as I said, we had both the Heartless Slash, a regular damage dealer. We also have Hollow Stare, which is a stress attack. So we do have him. He has pretty low on actually everything, but even lower on his sanity. So we're gonna go ahead and do a Hollow Stare on him. Instead we can use that on the first 3 here. So yeah, he lost quite a big chunk there. As for a zombie, I wanna start increasing him as well, so let's just do that. Make sure that his next attack is even stronger. As for our skeleton, he is going to start embracing mediocrity. Now, there's a little choice that we can make. Either go for our Dark Knight. I mean, he already has 7 and 7. Our zombie, he only has 0 and 8. He won't be taking any magic damage right now, so he is going to potentially at least take a bunch of damage. However, he also has a lot of health compared to Dark Knight. So we're gonna do this for the Dark Knight, because if we buff him high enough, he will be able to withstand quite a lot of damage. So he went for our zombie, that's okay. He also went for our zombie, that's not okay, but yeah, as you can see, he retains quite a lot of his health there. So as for the Bite of Iratus, this is also a buff that stacks, so we're gonna do that one more time. So now she is up to 43 and 48 for her regular attacks, which is really, really nice. So as for our Dark Knight here, no one has been buffed or anything like that, so at this point we could go for the Heartless Slash, since we increased our armor and resistance, so it does a little bit more damage. But I think we're gonna go for this again on him. Let's get him down even further. So what happens when they get low enough on sanity is that they will potentially sort of panic in one way or another, and that can mean different things. They can get what happens is that they get a debuff. However, the debuff could potentially be beneficial to them. It can mean, for example, increased attack power. So we'll see what happens when this one, because we're probably gonna get this one quite low. So as for a little skeleton here, he's gonna do a Embrace Mediocrity again. Now this time I'm gonna go for the zombie, just get him out a little bit. He goes for that, doing not that much damage. And you see it's already doing a little bit less damage than before. Since this is basically just a straight up reduction of the damage it dealt. So for example, the miner here, 16 to 20, meaning that with the 4 armor here now it would do 12 to 16. So it's just a simple way to reduce the damage taken. So the zombie now has buffed up a bit. You can see that here. He has more powder for increased damage dealt by 100. We haven't really started doing any damage at all to them. So we're going to do that now. We're going to do a buckshot, which deals damage, 60% of his total, to the chosen target and 2 enemies behind it. It's kind of nice that we do have 3 enemies, so we're gonna go for that by doing just like that. So he had a block, which is the symbol down here. You can have either a block or a ward. The block takes care of a physical attack, and the ward takes care of a stress attack. So now we're done with that. He doesn't have that anymore. So the skeleton is actually just gonna keep on buffing here. Also, with the reduced sanity of our little conscript here, he is actually going to flee the next turn, so we're not gonna bother with him anymore. It's a little bit sad. I don't think that we're gonna be able to take him out necessarily. Could do her sort of super attack, but that doesn't fire on one enemy, just this. It fires on all of the enemies. However, where is he? He is actually way back here. She's gonna take 2 turns, actually, before it is time for him again. That is perfectly fine. We're gonna do the regular attack, and we actually kill him immediately.
You will be worth something in death.
Quite. We will be getting some stuff from you, probably. So, with that, you can actually start doing this. Do a igniting mixture. So now they take a little bit of damage, but they also take 8 to 10 damage each of their turns. That's quite nice. As for you, what should you do? You could do just a straight up attack. I could heal you, just to get whatever little damage you've taken back. That's actually not a bad thing. Let's do that. So you do 12 damage, you heal yourself, and you're back to full health. Beautiful. They are really laying it on my zombie. I don't like that. Our bride is up. She is probably in a position to take you out. Well, sort of. Well, you know, we're gonna do that. We're actually pretty good on mana. No, this is the first fight. I'm not gonna spend too much mana on this. I'm gonna do that. Just try and take you out. That worked really well. Very well indeed. Better than I thought it would. As for you, I'm just gonna keep on buffing here, actually. Just to make sure that you don't die unnecessarily. You haven't taken any damage, which is kind of nice. So yeah, see, with all of that that lovely, lovely defense. He took a crit and a regular attack and took basically no damage at all. I love that. Right now, I think that we're just gonna start wailing on him. There's not really much that he can do to us at this point. This is basically, you know, baby's first little fight. We handled that pretty fine. I mean, sure, our zombie took a bunch of damage, but, you know, what can you do? So at the end, we get a bunch of experience. So Iratus here has leveled up, getting a new talent points. We also got 2 items. We got a serpent skull. If the minion starts their turn in position 3 or 4, they receive luck and critical damage until the end of battles, and it stacks up to 5 times. That is really good. I'm wondering a little bit what the game perceives to be position 3 or 4. I'm gonna assume this is position 3 and 4. In that case, it's a really good item for her. We also got the leg cast. The minion can't be moved. That is potentially a really good item for maybe our skeleton, actually. I'm gonna see here what we can do. So all of pluses mean that we are now leveled up. So she has now 2 bonus points, and we can start leveling up these things. Now we are going to level up her attack, so making just her do more damage. So from 23 to 28 up to 26 and 31, really good. We might actually start saving up that even more to get just her regular attack skill, because that is what we're gonna do the most. I'm going to try, and I mean, I'm gonna live on the assumption that this is 3 and 4, which means that she's going to have this. So let's see if I'm correct about that. Our skeleton boy here, he can start actually having his initiative up, because I do like to be able to buff as soon as possible. So having him go first, pretty good deal, I would say. This is having him go up. We can actually do that one more time. Still only costs 1. And that's his max. So now he cannot go higher on initiative. This probably means that he's gonna go almost first every time, and I'm very, very good, okay with that. Well, zombie here, what can he do? I think that I want him to increase his accuracy. I don't like him missing, and it does have a little bit too low. I probably want to upgrade this 2 times as soon as possible. Let's just get the first one up. He is now at 96. Beautiful. As for our Dark Knight, as far as I've sort of considered here, there are 2 possible ways to go here. Either you start increasing either regular attack or dread, or you increase their armor and resistance. It kind of depends on, do you want this one to deal damage, or do you want him to be able to withstand damage? And I'm kind of all for withstanding damage as much as possible. So we're gonna start going for armor, because we are taking mostly regular damage. Well, there are some enemies that do magic damage, but not a whole many of them, so getting your base armor up is a good thing. So as for the leg cuffs, the minion can't be moved. I'm kind of interested actually going with it for a Dark Knight, because the most of the abilities that he uses are from the front. So front 2, front 3, on 4, front 2, back 2, front 2. So we really don't want him to start moving back all too much. So yeah, he's gonna get that actually. But also with the fact that we're probably gonna start buffing him, his defenses, just making sure that he is at the front is a good thing. I think that I'm pretty happy with that. As for Iratus, he's going to get whip.
My magic will shake the very foundations of this world.
High five to that. So fate is going to be our next step, but that is costing 3 points, and we only have, well, 0 right now. So that is what we're going to do. Now, our zombie isn't looking too hot. I think I'm gonna try at least one more fight. I don't think that he's going to die that soon. So let's go back into the dungeon, into an ancient coffin, where we will get an item. So now we get a choice of a Bane Aura. Increases Iratus' spell power, kinda cool. Burning Blood. The minion's attacks restores 15% of the damage dealt as Wrath, so that is actually very, very good. We also have Vampire Fangs, restores 15% of the damage dealt as Vigor. That could be potentially useful for a zombie, but only as a sort of reactive thing here now, because he is lacking Vigor. He will be doing a bunch of damage, but also, as I mentioned before, increasing Wrath as much as possible is a really good thing. So I'm going to go for Burning Blood.
I can use this.
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm thinking that I want to give it to her. She deals a lot of damage. Yeah, let's do that. Let's give her that. There are some things that is good for her as well. Now we're locked for those two items, but we'll see if we can get to anything of that. So now we have a choice. We could loop down here, come up here and take this route, or we can go up here and start looking at all of these things. I'm kind of interested in going up here because we do have a Fountain of Restoration here, which is where we can restore either Vigor to our creatures or Iratus' mana. Now, as we do have at least one creature with a reduced Vigor, that could be a really good choice. We also actually have a elite squad here. Not entirely impossible if we want to go that way, just to have a go at that. But there's also a few number of things that looks pretty cool up here. But we're gonna go up, I believe. Just do another kind of simple battle. We have two conscripts this time, the ones with the sinister strikes, and we have a miner. The miner is sort of a buffer. No, actually, that's not the buffer. That's the taskmaster. That's the buffer. This is just a pretty normal damage dealer. As you can see here right now, it has the shield thing here, means that the first regular attack on him is going to fail. So we're gonna start by doing what I always like to do. Just a little bit of haste. Hope that wasn't what I wanted to do. Just click that, go here. We now move up both our Dark Knight and our Bride of Iratus. Pretty nifty. And we absolutely got to that point because of our skeleton, because he now has a initiative of 8, which means that he goes before these, because he has 7, 7, and 7. I don't exactly know where the +1 comes from for these, because they are not buffed by anything. And you don't have +1. Don't exactly know why that is, but yeah. So our skeleton here is actually going to help us start most fights, which is really handy. As for buffing, he's going to start buffing the zombie, obviously, because we now want our zombie to take as little damage as possible. As for our Dark Knight, I'm thinking actually that you are going to do a slash on him just to remove that shield. I think that's a good thing. Let's get that away. Our Bride of Iratus absolutely got that buff, so that Serpent Skull worked as I hoped. So now she is at 3+3 luck and increased critical damage by 3. Just she's gonna start buffing herself up, like so. You are gonna go into Sinister Strike. Knew that. You went for him. Fine. The zombie is gonna start buffing himself as well. So now that we took out the shield of that one, we can actually do some damage. She actually put a debuff on me. That's interesting. So the Dark Knight now has no initiative. That also means that the Dark Knight can use his ability to clear that debuff. That's pretty interesting. Okay, so you're gonna buff yourself even more. Lovely, lovely. The skeleton is gonna keep on buffing. The zombie now has a lot of damage. You also go into Sinister Strike. You went for that one, that's a little bit of a shame. Then you also went for the zombie, didn't take that much damage. Now with that, we are ready to do our buckshot, trying to do as much damage as possible. A little bit of extra, so that's a pretty decent hit. I like that. So you go for the zombie. Again, our zombie is taking a lot of damage. I don't really like that. So yeah, now we can do the Dark Tithe, which basically removes our debuffs and gains mana and wrath for Iratus, which is pretty damn decent, so I'm gonna do that. It will be moving back one step. That is perfectly fine. We can move him forward. Well, actually, no, sorry, he will not be moving at all because we have that little leg cuffs, which actually means that he cannot be moved. And I definitely like my choice there because I do want him in the front. So our skeleton is going to just keep on buffing. It only stacks 3 times, if I'm correct, so he should not be buffed anymore. I'm probably going to move over to buffing the Dark Knight even more. With that, the Bride of Iratus is up, and she is now going to use probably that. I could actually go for Rose for a Lady immediately, because it hits all our enemies, and it also is quite alright for us to use it, because we've already built up a nice set of Wrath there. And since she also has the Burning Blood, we will probably be getting back. We can check for that. So this costs 50, we have 79, so when we use this we should end up at 29. Let's see what that does if we use it. We use to 29 and immediately back up to 47. I like that. Okay, so now our skeleton is starting to take a little bit of damage. That's too bad. But you are now in a really good position to just deal some regular damage here, I believe. I don't think there's really anything. Yeah, because you haven't taken any damage, basically, so you don't have to use that just now. Just get rid of that one. Nice, you are gone. As for our little zombie here, I'm just gonna put some igniting mixture in the batch. He's probably gonna kill you off when it's your turn. And with all that buffing, he now takes 0 damage. Now you can do your smite ability. It's a physical attack that attacks twice. It only deals 40% of the total that he can do, but it's pretty decent. You usually use this, as I said, each buff on the target. Now they don't have any buffs, they are only on fire, so it's not gonna do that much. As a matter of fact, I think it's better to attack this one, because we can just straight out kill that one. However, he's gonna die anyway. Probably, yeah, he's gonna die anyway. Just to him, 2 attacks. He's not dead, but he will die. You die from fire. You can just finish that off. Beautiful. That was a pretty okay fight as well. Not exactly as much stuff as before, but we did get a uncommon armor. So what that does, as it says, additional stat points 2. That's nice. So kind of good fight there as well. No upgrades right now, but we are facing some issues here with our middle guys here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to creation. I'm going to get myself a Banshee, because as I said, I kind of like them. So we just fill that in. We are only going to do common items, so nothing fancy here. Let's craft you.
Learn to enjoy your wretched existence.
Yeah, so the kind of creature this is, she's kind of unwanting to fight, basically. We're gonna see some things that she's gonna be saying during the fights. So in the graveyard that we went into now, we have a few sort of projects that we can do, different kinds of things. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna go to the mortuary. So this is a place where for each fight that we do, or rather each fight that we win, whoever is in here is going to restore 75% of their vigor. We're gonna go for, I believe, which one of these is the best to heal up? I'm thinking the zombie, actually. So you can go in here while you go in here. So other stuff that you can do in the arena, you can have training for your minions. They get 10% experience plus 40% experience. You can do a statue, which is minions restore for each minion here. You restore mana for Iratus. You have an excavation, finding random parts. And for this, for example, you need a skeleton to do that. We go to the Abode of Wrath. We can have Iratus 15 Wrath at the beginning of the battle if we have a Dark Knight in here, etc, etc. So during fights we pick up Digger's Souls, which is what we use to do these sort of projects. I'm not going to do anything, but actually we could do this. could do excavation, which means that we are going to go back to creation. We will be just creating a standard little skeleton here.
Bones, bones.
That's good, and we'll just put you into excavation.
Inspired.
So every victory that we do, we will be getting some things out of there. So that's just a nice little way to get some extra items. As for that, we are pretty much okay, just go on. Let's hope that our little skeleton here keeps himself safe. I'm also going to check in on her skills. She was mainly middle and front, right? This is the sort of ability that I want to use the most. Because yeah, having enemies lose attack power, really good. But from that position, she can also use the sort of screams. She can use her absorb fear if she wants to. That a way to, I think, to get mana back to Iratus. You will be restoring your opponent's sanity, but that's sort of a safety measure to do. However, this one is of course kind of nice if you get to a point where the Dark Knight wants to use his hollow stare. If you can buff him with the whale before, that's really good. So I kind of like the Banshee. She's a cool character. So let's get back here, and I totally forgot that we had the little fountain here, but whatever. All your minerals, full health, that's beautiful. Now the question is, do we want to go here? We have a quest here, that's kind of cool. And also the elite squad. Since we're pretty early in the game, I don't think that an elite squad at this point is that much of a problem. So going for that and going up here could be a cool thing. A sacrificial altar. We don't want to do that. We don't want to sacrifice. We could get some more artifacts. That's also really good. But then we would be forced up into this sort of pointless area here. I think we're gonna go right here. Let's do some more fighting. So our skeleton immediately starts first. Lovely. Let's get all of our creatures up at the first row here. That's pretty damn decent. So she has quite high evade, 24%. You don't really need to buff her necessarily. So we're just gonna start embracing mediocrity on our Dark Knight. See, he is now 12 and 11 already. This guy does 10 to 12 damage, which means that he is unable to do any damage to our Dark Knight at this point. Our little bride here is gonna keep buffing herself up. Beautiful. And what should you do? I think all of these are pretty decent for everything, actually. But with our Banshee, we're probably gonna be looking at doing at least some dread damage or stress damage. I'm gonna go for that actually. Just get your stress level down here. As for you, yep, you are going to do soprano, reducing the attack power of all of them, and also taking away some of their sanity. It's a really good attack. So the taskmaster can move their creatures forward, which is a fine thing if they want to do that. It also takes away stress level for them. I've actually had one taskmaster kill off their own ally, because if you, I think I mentioned that if you do a stress attack against a character that has 0 sanity, you have a chance of getting a heart attack. And that counts even for your allies. So, kind of weird. Okay, so our little Banshee here was moved back. I think that's fine for now. So, let's actually just keep buffing. I don't know if I want to buff you necessarily. So what do you do? 10, 12, 12, 14, 10, 12, 11, 10. He's pretty fine right now. He can take a lot of hits. So I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to start buffing up my Banshee, just so that she doesn't necessarily lose all too much vigor. Our bride still gonna keep on buffing, still gonna keep getting that lovely little extra buff of the serpent thing, serpent's skull. Our Banshee, she is just gonna keep on doing the soprano. Let's keep taking that sanity down. Getting that attack down. See, he took no damage. He took just a little bit of damage. He missed. Beautiful. So our Dark Knight, he can now do probably a little Dark Tide here. Just to get our Wrath up and our Man up. Yeah, that's a pretty good choice. He won't be moving back because of the link-ups. Boom. And it's now our Skeleton's turn again. And he's gonna keep buffing our Banshee. Good, good. He's gonna give him a little bit of a buff. And it's now time for our Bride of Iratus. And what should we do here? I think we could go for this just to bring everyone down. Not a bad choice. I mean, just a regular attack is pretty decent as well. Just going for one of these to take them out as quick as possible. So with a crit at this point, we could actually just straight up kill them. Let's see what we can do. Not a crit, but that was decent anyway. See, that's a little damage. See, it doesn't take that much at all. He just keeps on debuffing my Dark Knight, that's perfectly fine. We are just gonna keep spamming the Soprano here. Keep making sure that they don't do much damage at all. He's gonna double in on the debuff, that is completely fine. We are gonna Dark Tide. We're gonna remove those debuffs and get some Mana Wraith. We are at 100 Wrath right now. We could do a Shield Banger. Deals damage to stress attack to everyone. And that is actually, since we're right now definitely going down the stress path here, I think we're gonna do that actually. That's a pretty decent thing, all things considered, because it's an all as well. So yeah, we have 2 now who are stressed out. So this one got hopeless. Minus luck, not that big of a deal, I think. I say that, but they're actually still on 10 luck, so that was a pretty decent one. It also decreases damage dealt, no blocks if they had, no wards if they had, and all armor resistance is down. This is definitely one of the better to get. As for you, you also got hopeless, so we got 2 really good ones. At this point, just taking this one out, I think is our best bet. Just start clearing them out. Now you got the crit, that was unnecessary.
1,000 years of evolution looks like.
Yeah, that's decent. You're trying to get him to move forward, but that's not gonna help you quite that much. Just gonna keep on stressing them out. So you are also now insane. You are... is that a good thing? So no, at the start of each turn loses 40% of its maximum vigor. That's okay, that's fine. I haven't really started doing anything with your vigor at all, but 40% of the maximum vigor, that's quite hefty. So you also got hopeless. You're all hopeless over here. That's, I mean, I'm not gonna complain at all. So as for you, you can try now. You can try and do this, because this also works on buffs and debuffs. So you're going to take quite a lot of damage from this. Might get lucky and get a heart attack. See what happens? Yep, that is exactly what we did. We got lucky and got a heart attack. So he's dead. Beautiful. I mean, this is going really, really well, I would have to say. Well, lost barely anything. And yeah, this skeleton is taking like a little bit of damage. Banshee as well, but not a big problem. See, also the skeleton, he can't buff himself. Skeletons generally can't be buffed or debuffed at all. They're immune to that. So I'm just gonna place the last possible buff here on our Banshees, and she is now at 12, so that's definitely good. Right, Iratus, you can... I mean, you do have the warning shot here that deals stress attack as well. You are 93. We can get you down really good here, I believe. Let's do that. Let's just get that on you. You lost a lot of sanity there. You can do sanity, a stress attack on you. The Banshee, again, with the Soprano. Getting him down even further. You try to attack, but we've buffed you enough that you are unattackable, basically. Do you have any stress attacks? Well, you did have the shield banger, so since we're already full on the wrath, let's just do that one again. So you're now completely down. You took all that damage. Beautiful, meaning that we can easily take you out with our bride. Let's do that. Of course we do a big crit unnecessarily. So when the taskmasters die, their allies actually get back some of their sanity. I'm okay with that. Let's hit you with that. Let's have our Dark Knight Hollow Stare. You are soon done, my friend. And we're up to 100 wrath again. We just keep dealing all that stress, lovely stress damage. So you can do that. Should we get a no heart attack here? We got a heart attack now. We got a heart attack now. So my skeleton took a little bit of extra damage that I didn't want to, but that's fine. So now we got ourselves one of the brains. So we can now take that to the either our Banshee actually, but she probably leveled up now, I would assume. So we could take this to our skeleton in the graveyard just to get him up, or we can just save it for whenever we create a new creature in the future. Also got a bull skull. If the minion starts their turn in position 1 or 2, they receive +5 vigor until the end of battle. Stacks up to 5 times extra, 25 vigor potentially. That's pretty decent. I could actually take that to my Banshee, I believe. Okay, so here we go. Our zombie got back basically all their health. And we also got a uncommon flesh. That's really good. Good work there, little skeleton guy. So now we have him back. We could get our skeleton to just heal up, because now we just put back our zombie into the group. Not a terrible choice. I mean, I kind of like having my skeleton in. I also like my skeleton to be, you know, alive. We're gonna just keep that as it is, I believe. But we have level ups all around. So at level 3, they all get their first ability point. So what happens is that with all these abilities, we can go in either of 2 directions. So for example, our chest piercer here, our sort of regular damage dealer, deals 100% damage with a 175% crit damage. We can take that to, instead of 175% crit damage, a critical hit will stun the target for 1 action, and bosses are immune. Or we can do a critical hit will lead 225 damage. So that's sort of the kind of deal we got going on. And one of the things that we use quite a lot is Think of Him, the bonus to stuff. So what we can do is we can do Adore Him, which means that we are now buffing with +14 attack and dread. Or we can still be doing 10 and 10, but Iratus gets plus spell power for 3 turns. Now I kind of like just having her deal the, you know, sick amount of damage. So getting this and just increasing her attack and dread is a really good choice. As for stats, as I said, I kind of want to start saving up just to be able to increase her base attack all the more, because that syncs up really well with the buff that she has. I'm just gonna leave her like that. As for a skeleton, he also has a skill point, and you know what I use quite a lot? I use his buff. So right now it is 4 armor and 4 resistance. We can go still 4 armor, 4 resistance, but also 2 attack and 2 dread. Stacks up to 3 times. Or we can go 5 armor and 5 resistance. I think you know what I'm gonna say here. I actually do enjoy this quite a lot. Just having him buff so ridiculously much is really cool. So I'm gonna go for that one. As for stats for him, we only buff the initiative of him and can't do anything more with that. It might be a good idea to just give him some base defenses here, because we do have 2 points. These only cost 1, so we could get these up, just to make sure that he at least can do a little bit of defense here. We could also go evasion if we want to, just, you know, avoid the damage altogether. As for this little guy, I mean, we don't attack that much, and when we do attack with the dread right now. But no, I'm gonna give him some extra defenses. I think that's a good choice. That's beautiful. Our little Banshee is also leveled up, only level 2, so she has not got an ability point yet. So with her, we are doing quite a lot of stress damage. This is definitely a good option. She's okay for most of all of the other stuff. Now we could potentially give her even more evasion. That's +4 for only 1 cost. That's really, really good. So giving her that, not a bad choice, as a matter of fact. Because we're not really using her necessarily to deal damage, since it's more the debuffs that we're interested in. So going more evasion, I think, is a good choice. So do one of those. It doesn't really need to be more accurate at this time. So you know what? Let's just spend the other point in Dread. Get her up there as well. Our Dark Knight has also gotten himself an ability point. This is kind of... we have a few choices here, actually. We could go, for example, for the Hollow Stare, you can go in this direction, which means that you just get a base upgrade. So instead of 100% damage, it's 150%, but you lose the extra damage for buffs and debuffs. Or you can keep the 100% damage and do more damage for buffs and debuffs. Now this one, as we talked about before, we are increasing his defenses. It might be a choice that we can do more here, because we can upgrade to this, which means that we deal 60% damage on the armor resistance instead of 40%. That is a choice. We also have an upgrade for Dark Tithe. So at this point you remove the debuffs and you Iratus can gain 6 mana 6 wrath. Or we can go 12 mana 6 wrath, or we can go 6 mana and 18 wrath. Now the way that we've set our characters up right now, we haven't really had a problem with wrath, so going that route is probably not that interesting. I'm also not really sure that I need mana. We're at 97 out of 100 and we haven't really done much to gain that back, so I think we're pretty good for this at this point. I don't really use that one. I will never use that one, so that's completely pointless. As for these two then, I mean, since we're running with the Banshee right now, having this one be better is not a bad choice. Because they will most likely be having debuffs on them. So just increasing the debuff damage is pretty nice. So what this means, at least right now, is that with this attack, if the opponent has at least one debuff or buff, they will do 19 to 22 damage. With this, it's 20 to 22. So this is better as just a base attack. And in order to get to the 19 to 22, they do need to have a buff or debuff. I still think that that's a pretty decent choice. Because our enemies usually get a buff from time to time, at least when you're facing up with taskmasters. So we can couple that with the soprano from the Banshee. We are looking at dealing quite a lot of damage, I think. So let's go for that one. That's good. As for stats, we could go straight more armor. As I said, we're not taking that much magic damage right now. It's mostly regular damage. So taking one more point in regular armor is, yeah, we're gonna go for that. So now it's up to 3. That's perfectly fine. So about that bull skull. So position 1 or 2 get more vigor. At this point, you are always going to be in spot 1. Getting you more vigor is not a bad choice. You are probably going to be up ahead as well, and you are a little bit more flimsy. So you know what? You're going to get a bull skull. Just get you slightly more vigor at all times. By the way, what's your initiative? You don't even have your initiative over here. That's kind of strange. So I can't buff your initiative. That's a bit of a shame. But with our little skelly boy here, he can sort of always start off our fights anyway, so she should be pretty good with the haste that we can give her. So I think that's pretty good. By the way, what kind of creatures do we create with those? I think, is that one armor? No flesh for you. You have flesh and armor, so we could get a pretty decent zombie out of this. if we do both that one and that one. Come on, clicky clicky. Why can't I click you? There we go. So right now he would be getting 4 extra stats in the beginning. That's really decent. But yeah, we're gonna keep those for now. See if we can use them further on. So now we are up to an elite squad. Are we ready to face an elite squad? Not really. We're gonna do this first. We're gonna go to alchemy and we are going to restore some vigor. What do we have the most of? We have quite a lot of blood. So let's just do 3 of those. Let's get that. So we got some health back there. Pretty sure that that's fine. I mean, hopefully our skeleton won't be getting like all the damage in the world. So yeah, let's hope that this works out well for us. We're in, and even with the added initiative to our skeleton, he is not first. That is such a shame. What are you doing? You are buffing yourself, coming up to the front here. So you're all really high on initiative. That's bad. Okay, so what are you? You're an elite headsman. You have a lot of everything. You are elite conscripts, the rest of you. So basically what we've been facing before, but just all that much better. Okay, so where do we begin? You are dealing quite a lot of damage. I kind of want to make sure that you are alive and well as much as possible. So you go into Sinister Strike, that's fine. You start buffing yourself. I think we're gonna have to buff you quite a lot this time. So yeah, she got a little buff there with extra vigor. That's beautiful. You are gonna go soprano. Of course. So yeah, oh, he also has 3 wards. That's really rough. Should we just start getting that off of him? I think that we should, yeah. Let's just do that. Make sure that the ward goes away. You are doing some damage. You try and do some damage. You see our skeleton is taking quite a lot of damage. That's not that good. You also go into Sinister Strike. So what's your... You are 98% attacking. You missed. That's lovely. Okay, so our skeleton is gonna keep on buffing up our guy here. And you are going to do a soprano. His wards are gone. Because yeah, he also didn't get the soprano because of the wards, so that's a little bit of a shame. As for this, should we just start taking these down? Because I kind of feel that the option here is to take out him with our bride. Because that could potentially be the best way, I think. So let's just hit you. See if we can get that good insanity. So what did you get? Panic. That is exceptionally good. Because he's in a Sinister Strike with the potential of doing a lot of damage. Now he has a 33% chance to even skip the turn, but also has a -52 accuracy. Really, really good. Beautiful. You are gonna buff yourself one more time. You're probably gonna go even one more. So yeah, you missed. Beautiful. You missed again. Beautiful. That was a lovely thing to see. So with that, should I go even one more on him? We should just give you a little bit of defense now. I think I'm going to... No, I'm gonna go for him, obviously. Because he can do a lot of damage soon. So you go into a Sinister Strike. You try to attack. You are unsuccessful. You're gonna buff yourself one more time. So she's up to quite a lot of damage now. You do a bunch of damage to my Banshee. That's fine. Because now we can start rebuffing. So now you're not going to do... Well, he's still going to do quite a lot of damage, but at least a little bit less. So he has a measured strength, and that is always on. Do I have any debuffs? I don't think that I have. I don't think that I have at all. That's fine, though. Because you're not taking any damage, so this is kind of pointless right now, but that's fine. So with that, take you out. See if we can get some insanity on you. We were unlucky with that, that's not too bad. And of course you crit on my freaking skeleton. That's not good. Okay, so Skelly Boy, try and give you... It could actually potentially, now that we are gaining attack as well, doing that on her is probably a good idea. Not for the defenses, but for the attack. So you miss her. You try to go for him. You do just 9 damage. Okay, Milo Skeleton is probably dead soon. You are doing a lot of damage to my skeleton. I don't like that. Now the question is, can they attack everyone? Because there could be a thing here that I actually move her forward a bit. I'm gonna see when it's her turn exactly where she needs to be for her abilities. I know that he can't be in the 4th spot for most of his stuff. It's a bit of a tricky choice here. He's down to 2 health. That's not much. As for you, you are going to try and stare you down, I believe. Yeah, let's do that. So you are going insane. You are unlucky. That is beautiful. As for you, you can deal damage in the position 4. Yeah, you can do everything on that. That's perfect. So you are going to move 1 spot forward. Beautiful. And now you can start dealing some nice damage to this guy.
Give them no.
That's a beautiful, beautiful crit. I love seeing that. Now she doesn't have any regular attacks. She does have a howl. So deals 100, which is just 1 to 2. That's not a whole lot. Target skip their next turn, so that's what that's useful for. I'm pretty okay with the situation here, I believe. So we could do not that one right now. That's for mana. I don't need mana at all, actually. She could do Whale, which just brings up our dread, but I don't think that I need that, to be honest. Nope, we're gonna do Soprano again. Yep. Bunch of debuffs. You are also your cowardice. That's, I think, yeah, you are going to try and run away. So she takes a little bit of damage. I'm fine with that. So he can actually only do one thing, that was just show them the replace, and I'm not gonna do that. So he's a little bit, you know, bad at being at the last place, but I just want to keep him alive at this point. So he's gonna wait. We're gonna try to do some damage, but you are unsuccessful. You also do a lot of damage on my poor Banshee. As for you, you can do this now, I believe. Well, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna try to give these people heart attacks, so I'm probably just gonna take this one out. Yeah, just do that.
One more for the
Let's do a bit of an overkill there. So he actually died from heart attack. Good. Let's see if we can do this. We actually missed that one. That was a shame. As for you, I'm gonna try and heart attack you. You missed. Well, yeah, you were 49%, so that's not a... Well, no, you shouldn't be the 49%. It was you, it was 49. Don't know why that happened. So, for some reason, you can't wait. What is that about? What is that about? Well, you know, let's... That's weird. Okay, so... That's actually pretty fine, because, well, you're not going to be able to kill anything. Why can't I wait? Can you only wait like 1 time? Okay. My plan sort of didn't work out there, but okay. So let's do a haste. So we can change anything here. No, we could not change anything. Okay, so my skeleton is gonna go 2 times. That's interesting. Well, I don't really have a choice here. I need to do this. Fine. You just move ahead all the way up to the front. Just hope that you don't... That's actually... That worked pretty well. Fine. Good. So you can probably... Where are you? You are at 100%. You should be fine. Didn't you have a stress attack? You had a stress attack. Let's do that so you can get that heart attack in. Nope, no heart attack. Let's get you. Heart attack. Beautiful. Well... We're alive. We got a lot of experience points. We got a second slipper for our Banshee. So every time an enemy misses an attack against her, she regains health. That's actually very, very good, of course. We got some Humanorium token. I think that that's just information about these. We got ourselves a level 4 brain. Pretty nice. So with that, we also got some rags. Good little skeleton going on there. So with that, we can now take our fate here. Beautiful. So that's that. And with the Bride of Iratus, she now has more abilities here, or stat points. We can increase her damage even further. Beautiful. As for you, what did we... we increased your base defenses. We are going to keep doing that. Banshee... Now with the second slipper that we are going to be equipping, you can actually start increasing your evasion even more, just to make sure that you are always healthy. That's a good choice. As for abilities, I mean, we are using Soprano quite a lot. So that is 40% stress attack. All enemies lose 6 attack. We can go to 6 attack and 12 evasion. That's pretty decent, yeah. And or otherwise 8 attack, and I think that's the best choice. Just more reduction of their attack. Beautiful. So she's done. He has 2 points, and we were increasing his defenses. I might actually keep getting him safer and safer by waiting a little bit to take that up. On the other hand, he missed a little bit of attack there. It might be an interesting thing to just get his accuracy up. It will cost 1 as well. We could also potentially increase his initiative. That's also an interesting point. I'm a little bit unsure here what I want to do with you. So you know what? I'm just gonna wait. We're gonna wait. Yep. So with that, we are going to have to do a little bit of a rethinking here. So in the mortuary we have 1 place. If we use I believe that's a wraith, we can have 2 spots, which is sort of what we need. We're gonna go create ourselves a wraith. So we fill that up with regular stuff, craft them.
Creation. Perhaps the warnings were just superstition.
We go back to the graveyard, we go here, we increase this by just sort of sacrificing him. We had the digger souls to do that, because we are going to have to heal both of you up. That means that you are back in the fight. That also means that we have an open spot. What could we create in order to have a good second spot? Now, the mummy, you, I think, want to be... Well, actually, the 3rd spot is a really good spot for him. He won't be able to do Cursing Touch, but that's pretty fine, because he will be doing all of the other stuff, and I kind of like him as well. He also starts with 1 block and 1 ward, so you can dodge attacks. He also has a lot of vigor. No defenses, not a whole lot of attack at the beginning, but a lot of luck, meaning he can do a lot of critical hits. Kind of like, I don't really like that one, but there was one that I liked. So for example, that's pretty decent. He doesn't really get debuffs that much. He can also heal himself, obviously, by reduce. So this is actually one of the better ones. So he can remove debuffs. Pretty damn decent. He also has regular, you know, attack abilities. So I think I'm gonna go for you. Now, did we have any uncommon that you can do? Yeah, you can do. Actually, we don't have to do with that. Just fill them up with regular stuff. Craft that.
To make my enemies
so we have a mummy, and now we're gonna use our little brain here, and we're gonna give you a. I'm gonna give you a level 3 brain. Beautiful. We have any items for you? No, we don't have any items for you. So you can immediately get a skill up. So as I kind of like this, it deals 120% damage with minus 10 luck. We can go up to minus 20 luck, or we can do it minus 10 luck until the battle ends. Not too bad. The Stress attack actually moves him forward. I don't really want to do that, I believe. It's not a big problem because you could just use the little nudge before he does that. So you nudge him back one and then use it so he basically comes back to the same spot. Also not that big of a deal. So that deals 75% stress damage to the chosen target and the enemy behind it. So we could change that to what? What's the difference? The difference is that he can attack one extra and also move back. Not too shabby. Or we can ignore ward. That's also not that bad. So what do we get? We can either gain even more vigor back, or what is the difference here? Mummy gains vigor, 4 vigor. This is buff instead. Okay, so if for that we can remove debuffs from allies, or we can remove buffs from enemies. That's not that bad actually. Although that is again one skill that moves him, so he's going to be moved back one step. It's not too big of a problem if he moves back and the bride moves forward, but I generally don't want her to take damage too much. Do you know what we are going to do? I'm thinking about the clinging wraps. I would like more damage though, but let's just do a regular debuff that lasts, because we can also sync that up with the Dark Knight. Let's just do that one.
Well, my minion.
And also you needed some stat upgrades. So what do we want to do with you? So you have a lot of luck, so you can do a fair amount of damage. You are, however, really low initiative. I'm gonna boost your initiative one step at least. And we're gonna boost your... because I'm probably gonna be using this the most. So just get your regular attack damage up. I think that's pretty nice. But yeah, this is I think this is going pretty well. We managed to do an elite squad. I'm not gonna say easily, we almost lost at least one of them, but all in all, pretty decent start. But I also think that you sort of understand what this game is about. I never really play games like this, but I must say that I thoroughly enjoy this. I don't know if it's because I'm, you know, just so damn good at it, but it might be something to that. Yeah, let's just say that that's the case at least. So, you know, we're gonna leave this off for now. I might be tempted to check in a bit more of this. I mean, I at least want to be able to finish the game on the first difficulty, show the game that I'm actually capable of playing on a harder difficulty. I don't think that I am, but I would at least like the option to try. So yeah, we'll see about if this makes some sort of return in the future. But for now, this has been Ghostsmith Gaming with me, Christopher. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.